4.4, division with decimals. Dividing decimals by whole numbers. We have 7 6/10 divided by 4. We're going to remind ourselves that 4 needs to go on the outside, and 7 6/10 goes on the inside. We're always going to put our decimal up from wherever it's located underneath the line. Now, 4 goes into 7 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract and we get 3. Bring down the 6. 4 goes into 36 9 times, and 9 times 4 is 36. When you reach 0, you're done, and 1 9/10 is my answer. Let's try the number 2. 34 8/10 divided by 4. We have, again, 4 on the outside, and we have 34 decimal point 8. The decimal point goes above. 4 goes into 3, none. So we're going to focus on 4 goes into 34. 4 goes into 34 8 times. This would be like writing a 0, but we're not going to put that in there. 8 times 4 is 32. Subtract. 4 take away 2 is 2. 3 minus 3 is 0. Bring down your 8. 4 goes into 28 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. When you get to 0, you're done. So because I had a place marker, I'm going to rewrite 8 7/10 is my answer. On to number 3. Number 3, we have 4 38/100 divided by 12. 12 goes on the outside, and 4 decimal point 38 goes on the inside. 12 does not go into 4. Let's put our decimal point in. So we're going to put that big 0 there. 12 does go into 43 3 times, and 3 times 12 is 36. Subtract, I'm going to have to borrow. 13 take away 6 is 7. 3 minus 3 is 0. Bring down the 8. 12 goes into 78 6 times. 6 times 12 is 72. Subtract and I get 6. Because I have leftover numbers, I'm going to have to put in a 0 at the top, and I'm going to have to bring it down and continue until I get to 0 when I subtract. So 12 goes into 60 5 times. 5 times 12 is 60. When I subtract, I get 0, so I'm finished. And the answer to this problem is 0 365,000. Example 4. We have 5,974 divided by 20. So we have 5,974 on the inside. This is where your decimal point is. Divided by 20. $20 goes into 59 2 times. 2 times 20 is 40. Subtract. 9 take away 0 is 9. 5 minus 4 is 1. Bring down your 7. 20 goes into 197 9 times, because 9 times 2 is 18, and then I'm going to add that 0, so 180. Subtract, and I get 17. Bring down my 4. 20 goes into 174. I know 8 times, because 8 times 2 is 16. Add the 0 is 160. Subtract, and I get 14. Here's where I'm going to put in a 0, and I'm going to bring it down. 20 goes into 140 7 times. 7 times 20 is going to give me 140. Now that I have 0, I'm done. So 298 and 7/10 is our answer. Let's look at example 5. We have 49 and 896 thousandths divided by 27. So 27 goes on the outside and 49 decimal point 896. 27 goes into 49 one time. 1 times 27 is 27. 9 take away 7 is 2. 4 take away 2 is 2. Again, 22 is smaller than 27. Go to the next number. 27 goes into 228. Probably 8 times. So 27 times 8, you get 56. 16 and 5 is going to give me 21, so 216 looks like that's the closest number. Subtract, and I get 12. Bring down your 9. 27 goes into 129 4 times. I know that's half of that, so 4 times 27 is going to be 108. Subtract, and I get 21. Bring down my 6. We already have 216, so I know it's going to be 8. 8 times 27 is 216, and I get to 0, so I don't need anything else, and I'm done. Let's try dividing a decimal by a decimal. When dividing a decimal by a decimal, the rules change, but only slightly. There's 2 steps to a decimal divided by a decimal. The first step is setting it up. So I have 1 and 4/10 on the outside and 18 and 2/10 on the inside. You cannot have any decimals on the outside. To do that, what you're going to do is we're going to multiply by however many you need to get it to here. So this would be like multiplying it by 10, removing it once. What you do on the outside, you do on the inside. So we're also going to multiply by 10, meaning move the decimal 1 time to the right. It's going to end up here. Then you're going to rewrite your problem. So I have 14 goes into 182. Here's my decimal point. So I have 14 goes into 18 1 time. 1 times 14 is 14. Subtract and I get 4. Bring down the 2. 14 goes into 42 3 times. 3 times 14 is 42. And we get 0, so we're done. The answer is 13. Let's try that for example 2. We're going to do the same start where we're going to have to write it out as 0.39 on the outside and 0.273 on the inside. I need to move the outside one first. I move it 2 times, that's like multiplying by 100. That means I'm doing the same thing here. So my new decimal will be between the 7 and the 3. Rewrite your problem and solve. So I have 39 goes into 27.3. 39 does not go into 27. 39 goes into 273 7 times. And we could check that by doing math on the side. 7 times 9 is 63. And 3 times 7 is 21, plus 6 is 27. So we get 273. Subtract, we get 0. So 0 and 7/10 is our answer. We have 3 and 8/10 divided by 31 and 35 hundredths. I move my decimal 1 time on the outside, so I move it 1 time on the inside. Rewrite. 38 goes into 313.5. Fill in your decimal. 38 goes into 31 0 times. 38 goes into 313. It's really close to that 39 that we just did. So let's try 8. 8 times 38 is going to give me 304. We subtract. I'm going to borrow. 13 minus 4 is 9. And 0 take away 0 is 0. 3 minus 3 is 0. So we bring down our 5. 38 goes into 95 2 times. 2 times 38 is 76. Subtract. I get 15 take away 6 is 9. And 8 minus 7 is 1. We're not done, but we ran out of numbers, so now we fill in our zeros. We bring down our 0, and we have 38 goes into 190, and because it ends in a 0, I'm going to try 5. 5 times 38 is 190. When we subtract, we get 0, so we're done. And our answer is 8 25/100ths. When we look at example 9, we're going to set it up 0 25/100ths and 0.3778. I need to move my decimal 2 times on the outside, so I move it 2 times on the inside. Rewrite. 25 goes into 37.78. 25 goes into 37 1 time. I get 25, subtract, and I get 12. Bring down the 7. 25 goes into 127 5 times. 5 times 125, 5 times 25 is 125. Subtract, and I get 2. Bring down the 8. 25 goes into 28 1 time. 1 times 25 is 25. Subtract, and I get 3. Gonna have to put in that 0. So let's extend that line. 0, bring it down, I have 30. 25 goes into 30 1 time. 1 times 25 is 25. Subtract, and I get 5. Now I have to bring down another 0. Remember, you keep going until you get to 0. So now we have 50. 25 goes into 50 2 times. 2 times 25 is 50. Subtract, and you get 0. Now we are done. And the answer is 1 and 5,112 10,000ths. Divide and round to the nearest tenth. So we put our 0 and 3/100ths on the outside and 17 on the inside. We need to move our decimal 2 times, so we take this decimal and move it 2 times and add in 2 zeros. So we have 3 goes into 1700 decimal point. When we do that, we're going to now need to solve that problem. So we're going to start with how many times does 3 go into 17? 3 goes into 17 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. Subtract, and I get 2. Bring down a 0. 3 goes into 20 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract, and I get 2. Bring down a 0. 3 goes into 20 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract, and I get 2. Bring in your place marker. We ran out of zeros, so adding in a 0 and your decimal point, we can realize that this is going to be a pattern that keeps going. 3 goes into 20 6 times, and 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract in a 0. Write in another one, bring it down. Oh, that's 2. So 3 goes into 20 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract and you get 2. Now, why did I need to go to here? Well, it asked us to round to the nearest tenth. So we need to go to the 100th mark to figure out what we're rounding. So I have 566 and 66 hundredths. The 6 tells the other 6 to go up. So my final answer is 566 and 7 tenths. How many times more cellular phone subscribers were there in 2011 than in 1991? Round to the nearest whole number. So this one is asking us to round to the nearest whole number. So we first need to figure out in 2011 how many were there. In 2011, there were 331 and 59 hundredths. Divided by, because it's how many times more, so that's divided by. And in 1991, there were 7.6. So we have 7.6 divided by 331.59. Move our decimal once on the outside, so we're going to move it once on the inside. We'll rewrite and solve. 76 goes into 331, and then there's our 5, and now our decimal point, 9. 3,315.9. 76 doesn't go into 3, it doesn't go into 33, but it does go into 331, and that would be 4 times. So it's above the 1 because that's how far over we're going to go. So 4 times 76 is 304. Subtract, I'd have to borrow. 11 take away 4 is going to give me 7. 2 minus 0 is 2, and 3 take away 3 is 0. Bring down my 5. 76 goes into 275 3 times. 3 times 76 is 228. Subtract, borrow. 15 take away 8 is 7. And 6 take away 2 is 4. Now we're going to bring that 9 down. And 76 goes into 479 6 times. And 6 times 76 is 456. Now, unfortunately, I'm not done yet because when I subtract, I get 23. However, it asked us to round to the whole number, and that means that I only need to go to the tenths place because the tenths place will tell me what to round to. So, the 6 tells the 3 to go up, so my final answer is 44 times more. Example 12. If a man working $5.26 an hour receives a paycheck for $170.95 before deductions, how many hours did he work? So to solve this, we take how much we earned, $170.95, and divide it by how much we make per hour, $5.26. We set up our problem so that we can figure out our decimal, and we have 170 and 95 on the inside. We're going to move it 2 times on the outside, so we move it 2 times on the inside and rewrite. I'm going to write 526 and 17095 decimal point. So 526 does not go into 117 or 170. It actually has to go into the whole thing, 1,790, and that would be 3 times. 3 times, and I was thinking 3 times 5 is 15, so I know it's really close to 15. So it's actually 3 times 526 is 1,578. We're going to subtract. And when I do, I get to borrow. So 10 take away 7 is 3, and I get 131. We're going to bring down that 5. 526 goes into 1,315 2 times, and that's going to give me 1,052. When I subtract, I'm going to get 5 take away 2 is 3. I'm going to have to borrow. 11 take away 5 is 6, and 2 minus 0 is 2. I have to put in a 0, so I'm going to stop using my highlighter at this point, and I'm just going to fill in a 0 and bring it down. So I have 526 goes into 2,630, and because it ends in a 0, I'm going to try 5, and 5 times 526 is 2,630. I get 0, and I'm done. So we could say that the answer is 32.5 hours is how many hours he worked for his paycheck. A telephone company charges 43 cents for the first minute. That's really important. And 33 cents for each additional minute for a long distance call. If the call is $3.07, how many minutes was the call? So it's saying if it costs $3.07, right? And you know for the first minute was 43 cents. So you could take the first minute out. Whatever's left is what you're going to divide by the rest of it for 33 cents each minute after that. So let's do the first step of subtract. If we subtract $3.07 and take away 43 cents, we get 7 take away 3 is 4. We borrow. 10 take away 4 is 6, decimal point, because we line those up. And 2 minus 0 is 2. So for $2.64, we have all the rest of our minutes. So now we're going to divide those and figure out how many we had. So again, don't forget, this is 1 minute. So we know that it's 1 minute plus whatever amount of minutes this is right here. So we have 33 cents on the outside and $2.64 on the inside. We have to move our decimal twice, so we're going to move our decimal twice. So we have 33 goes into 264 how many times? So 33 doesn't go into 26. It does go into 264 8 times. Now, how did I pick that number? I really was thinking about 3 times what is going to give me a 4. So like 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 6 is 18. It's not a 4. 3 times 8 is 24, so that would end here. So that's how I know 33 times 8 is 24, and then I decide 8 times 3 is 24, 25, 26. How to get to that number? Mentally, because remember there's no calculator. And I got to 0, so we have 8 minutes to fill in here. Add them up, and we spent 9 minutes on our call. And that is 4.4 division with decimals.